Welcome. My name's Joshua Ross. I'm the enrollments manager here at 4thRev for the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator. Really excited to have you all here today for our info session. We're going to be discussing everything you need to know about the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator. We've got a great panel of guests who their expertise spans far and wide, so we should be able to cover all of your burning questions today. We're going to start, there's going to be two components. There's a few slides that we're going to run through and give you the necessary insight about the Data Analytics Career Accelerator. And then the second half will be a Q&A where we'll answer questions from the audience. So please, you can see at the bottom of your screen, you've got a chat function and you should have a Q&A function. Please use the Q&A function to post your questions. Don't wait, get in as soon as you have one. So you're at the top of the list there. You can all upvote for questions that you're most interested in us answering live. And there's also a chat function there as well, where we'll be posting relevant links, and info for the program too. If you do post a question in the chat function, we will ask you to post in the Q&A. So if you can, please remember to do so. But really want to be guided by the questions that you, the audience, have. But we'll kick off now with more insight regarding the program. Should I say, before we actually talk about the program, I'm going to meet our expert panel. So John, Harry, Tracy, Ruan, if you don't mind putting your cameras on, we're going to do a bit of a brief intro. We'll start with you, John. Welcome.
Hi, Josh. Thanks. Yeah, my name's John Minto. I'm a graduate of the course, and I'm currently working as a data analyst at GLL here in London. Yeah, nice to see you all.
Thanks, John. Harry.
Hey Josh, and hey everyone, I'm Harry. I will be one of your facilitators on the course if you decide to sign up. I've got a background in data analysis, data engineering, and data science for the last 6 years. So I hope to give you lots of coaching, one-to-one sessions, and I'll be one of the guides to help you reach a successful outcome.
Good to have you, Harry. Tracy.
It's Josh. Hi, everyone. My name's Tracy. I'm a career coach here at 4thRev. I work across all the accelerators, including data analytics, helping learners reach their career goals, whatever they are, whether they're career starters, changes, or they're advancing their career and using the course to do that. I love what I do. It's great seeing learners start, excuse me, at the beginning of the course with some doubts, some concerns, lacking confidence, and then at the end of the course, achieving the aims that they're after. And it's a very, very rewarding job.
Thanks, Tracy. Finally, Ruan. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruan, and I am an enrollment advisor for the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator program. So I will be answering most of the Q&A questions in the chat as well. And I would like to recommend that you guys actually book a call with your enrollment advisor so that we can go into more details on how we can assist you guys moving forward. Enjoy the session.
Thanks, Ruan. Okay, so why data analytics? Probably been living under a rock a little bit if you're not aware. I haven't heard too much about data analytics, and now it's widespread importance across a range of different roles and industries. But it's really one of the reasons that we built this program is to help fill the global skills shortage that's occurring within data analytics. You can see here that the demand for data professionals continues to surge as global data generation skyrockets. So two great stats there to give you some insight into the importance of data, but 90% of business leaders cite data literacy as key to company success, but only 25% of workers feel confident in their data skills. Ruan, Tracy, Harry, I mean, day-to-day basis, they'd be speaking to people that fall into that category. And in 2024, approximately 402.74 million terabytes of data were created each day. And so when we think about the demand here, you can see in the graph, yes, there's been a drop since 2022 in overall tech jobs, but what's remained consistent and reliable is data job postings. And we get a lot of questions around AI and the impact that that's going to have, and we can discuss that a little bit more. But you can see from this that it's more around incorporating AI into your role with data rather than it necessarily replacing you. Two slides here, bit of a brief overview regarding the actual Career Accelerator. So what is the Career Accelerator? I've mentioned it's a program designed to help fill the skills shortage within data analytics. And what it does is it takes a blend of the best of traditional academia and university with LSE, top-ranked university in the UK, top 30 university in the world, and combining that with the industry insight from Tableau and GitHub. So they've collaborated on the build of the content to make sure then what you learn is practical and industry aligned. If we look at this slide here, you can see that. So co-designed by LSE faculty and industry experts, it's designed for working professionals. But what are the actual tangible things that you receive as a part of completing the program? I like to describe it, there's three main areas of things that you'll receive, and we'll explore these further in the next hour or so. But the first is a certificate from the LSE. So you can clearly highlight and demonstrate that you've studied with a top global university. And at the moment, that is a certificate. It's not a formal qualification. But what we have just released is, or launched, I should say, is a formal pathway to a postgraduate certificate with the LSE, which you can then, it's optional, elect to complete after successfully completing the Career Accelerator. So it really heightens the quality of the certificate as well, should you want to go down that path in the future or need it. So alongside the certificate of completion from the LSE, you've got a digital portfolio of evidence. And what that will be built up is these 4 courses that you can see. So there's 3 6-week courses that all culminate in an individual project. That project is how you're assessed, and it's how you demonstrate the skills that you've learnt throughout the respective courses. Once you complete those 3 courses and 3 projects, the program culminates in an employer project, which we're going to give you more insight on shortly. But you're given a real or unique business challenge from a pool of real businesses we work with, and you go about solving that collaboratively in small teams of 5 to 6 students and getting to present at the end. So a great level of variety in what you will learn, but think about then as a digital portfolio, what it allows you to do is to showcase your skills to prospective employers, to your current employer, your manager, whoever it may be. It allows you to storytell and visualize what you know, rather than say, traditionally it'd be like a grade sheet, something like that. And then finally, and very importantly, you can see down the bottom here, you get one-on-one career coaching. We're going to talk in more detail with Tracy shortly, but executive style career coaching all throughout the program and potentially afterwards as well, empowering you with the skills and tools you need to be self-sufficient to achieve your intended outcome. It's a really significant part of the experience. The program is a blend of self-paced learning alongside weekly live sessions with the course facilitator. We'll talk a little bit more soon with Harry about that. But given the type of candidate that's doing this program is a working professional, be that full-time, part-time, the program's designed with flexibility in mind, but also making sure that you do have that good balance of academic support throughout. Happy to see there's questions coming in the Q&A already, which is fantastic. Ruan, you're answering those promptly, but please keep them coming so we can get to them in the second half of the discussion. Good little quote here from Elodie at the bottom as well. So it's a nice mix of reading, doing, listening, watching, with loads of varied tasks, and it's broken down into quite manageable chunks. So someone who is fitting in study time at weird times of days, nights, weekends, it's very easy to break it into chunks and manage it and tick things off as you go so you feel like you're making progress. Pretty impactful when you think about the level of flexibility people need today and the type of individual that we get in the program. So jumping back onto the real world projects, as I said here, we work on practical projects and build a portfolio that shows you have the real world experience. Harry, I'm going to throw to you. Just in your knowledge and understanding of the content, what makes it special and different and valuable?
It's the real world focus. And I think this is one of the most important things that differentiates people who graduate from the Career Accelerator from prospective candidates for jobs, is that you can really demonstrate that what you have worked on are actual industry related questions. The assignments that we create are driven from real data sets that apply to real questions. And on top of that, I think it's really that ability to showcase your work, as you mentioned earlier, Josh, the fact that you can create that portfolio and you can show that and share that on LinkedIn or various platforms. And for me, both as a facilitator and previous manager in data analytics, the kind of person that I would be looking for is someone that's proactive and that has that demonstrated experience that can really say, I've done this, I have an interest, and I've gone over the top and, done all of this portfolio work to demonstrate that I have an interest and that this is real. Those are the kind of people that I'm looking for to hire, that proactivity. And I think, by completing the course and by delivering on the course concepts that we teach, you'll be in a great position to showcase your work and gain meaningful employment in the data industry, which is exciting.
Absolutely. Thank you. Tracy, just from your perspective and experience with dealing with a whole range of candidates, how have you incorporated the use of these projects into how you support people from a careers perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's echoing what Harry said about the practical nature. People that finish the course earn the right to call themselves a data analyst because they have applied the knowledge, not just learnt the theory of it. And the portfolios have worked really, really well because it's a great way to demonstrate that you have got that practical knowledge. I remember a lady I worked with, she was at the relatively start of her career, but she lacked a little bit of confidence, was struggling to get to the interview stage, but we worked on her portfolio and she was then applied for a job with the portfolio link, and they actually put her straight through to the second round. They didn't bother with the first round interviews, and she ended up getting that job, and that was purely because she had taken the time to put a portfolio together. So it's a great way to showcase the practical nature that sets this course apart.
Brilliant, great example. Thank you. So you can see here, John, I'm going to get your insight in a moment, but I want to do a bit more of a formal introduction about your experience, which we'll do now. But just as you can see at the bottom, in terms of the caliber of the project partners that we have, you've got Tableau, GitHub, ThoughtWorks, Study Group, Zumo. So there's a whole range there, really, really exciting and impactful as well. John, from ski instructor to data analyst. Doesn't get much better than that. So
that's me.
Yeah. So before I throw to you, we can see here just with your LinkedIn post, you said, I moved back to the UK with a new job, but finally felt the limit of my teaching career. So I launched a plan to become a data analyst. I listed my goals as secure a job as a data analyst by 2024, earning at least £35,000, working for a company that values, respects / supports and has a positive influence on society. So after a huge amount of effort with all the highs and lows that come from a decision to switch careers in your mid-30s, I've made it happen. Firstly, congratulations. That's
Thanks.
all
Yeah,
your
appreciate
hard
it.
work. We're happy that we were able to support you with that. Talk us through a little bit more, I guess, about your decision to want to become a data analyst. Why did you want to change career? And then how did the Career Accelerator fall into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it came from a place of wanting to kind of like future-proof my career a bit more and kind of find something that could give me a bit more stability long term. So I kind of had two parallel careers, ski instructor and English language teacher. So I kind of lived abroad and did those at different parts of the year, which was a great job and I really enjoyed it. So I could kind of think about transitioning to something else from a place of really enjoying what I do anyway, which was quite nice. So, you know, I look back to my kind of past experience, and I did a sports science degree, which had modules in like biomechanics and sort of performance analysis in that sense. And I did a placement year as an analyst in a rugby team as well. So going back a lot of years now, too many to mention, that's what I did as part of my degree. So I had a bit of kind of background history, pulling stats and working for the coaches to try and, you know, improve their coaching performance. So yeah, looking back to that and then kind of think about my mindset and how I think and how I approach problems, I kind of settled on trying to push back into data analytics. And so from kind of making that decision to landing a job, it was maybe about 2 years or so, I think. So I started kind of searching around and did a few kind of bits of self-learning. And with my job as a ski instructor, I'd kind of built up enough trust that I could press the manager to give me some projects to work on with some of their sales data, things like that. So yeah, I took every kind of step I could to try and push myself into that field before taking on a big course like this. And yeah, kind of came to it and did my research, spoke to all the people and the career advisors and enrollment advisors, and yeah, took the step, and here I am, made it.
Well done, once again. There's a couple of things that came to me from that, but I don't want to lose train of thought of what we were just looking at before, just in terms of the projects. You've kind of, we can see here on the quote on this slide as well, you've kind of spoken to that as well. Can you talk a little bit more about, the value and the impact that had?
Yeah, I mean, it was the word shock came to my mind then, but it's not shock, like pleasantly surprised that when I started doing the job, you know, my first few projects and pretty much everything I've been doing since has been exactly the same as some of the projects we did on the course, particularly the you know, employer project at the end that worked for the Bank of England. That kind of, and you know, Harry spoke to it earlier, that sort of process where you're taking on a project, speaking with the stakeholders, in my case with the Bank of England, managing group dynamics and what strengths you can bring to a team, and kind of seeing that end-to-end project and actually you know, getting the feedback from it and it all going really well was just a, you know, carbon copy of what I've been doing in the job since. So I think yeah, that sort of real world basis for the course is exactly right. And you know, we did some work with NHS data, and you know, anyone in the UK might imagine that's quite messy and lots of different sources, and things were true at some periods and aren't not true at other periods, and you know, really kind of difficult data to work with. And you know, that's been the story of the data I've been working with here as well. You know, so it's often from different sources. You've got to kind of bridge the gap between different stakeholders and all that kind of thing that was introduced to me on the course. So yeah, from my perspective, it was a really good platform to take me into that role.
Yep. And that's one thing I know when we originally launched the program and we were building it. It's one of the ideas is when we talk about project-based learning, right? It's helping you land a role in your instance, but importantly as well, once you're in the role, like it helps that transition a lot easier because, as you said, it was a carbon copy of what you were doing then in the workplace. So once you're actually in the workplace, what is your capabilities? How can you showcase that you're able to perform really well to your employer? And ideally through that, we see further progression quite quickly as well. Also, in your circumstances, you spoke a bit about, and this is very common, Ruan, you can nod if you agree, but we constantly speak to people that are doubting themselves, their capability to meet the requirements of the program, but also what they're not really understanding there is about the transferable skills. So John, were you kind of already aware of your transferable skills, or was it actually a part of doing this program that kind of brought it out of you, or your realization that you had them?
I think, I was aware of them in terms of, being a teacher and an instructor. Your kind of role is to, listen to people's problems or see their weaknesses or strengths, and find solutions and help them improve themselves and kind of better themselves. And in doing my research of what kind of career I wanted to take on, I just noticed that process is basically the same as data analytics. You're working with people to understand what they're missing, what information they need, putting it together, presenting it back to them so they can kind of take action and move on with it. So I think in terms of like soft skills of how to communicate with people and how to manage that process, I realized quite early that that was something I had already. But yeah, and in terms of the the self-belief to get through a program like this and actually make the switch, I think it took a while to to believe that even in putting maximum effort in, completing the course and doing everything, I needed the sort of belief to know that that would actually be enough to get me the role. Like, I give 100% and that's still not enough. That's quite a daunting thing. So that's Tracy was my career coach, so it was, that was something that we definitely worked with together. But I think the soft skills and that kind of approach, it just takes a bit of reflection and a bit of somebody guiding you through that process. And I think the start of the course was great for that as well, where it didn't go too quickly into the data, even though you kind of want to get started and everyone's got that passion at the start to jump into it. But spending a bit of time to self-reflect and set the goals and that kind of thing was really really useful, to not rush that part of it, because that was a thing that allows you to kind of own that process and go through it, have it as that kind of baseline minimum thing that I've got to stick to get there. So loads of support on that kind of thing, and it took a bit of work, but everything good does, so that's okay.
Yes, exactly. Nothing comes easy, but I know in hosting a few of these webinars and speaking to some of our ex-students, it's all evident that you applied yourselves fully and you trusted the process. And if you do that and you maximize the support, you ideally will have the best opportunity to achieve what you want to achieve. But it doesn't come without hard work, quite clearly. Before we move on, Tracy, just from your perspective, just kind of at a high level, we're talking about transferable skills here, but more broadly, I guess, how do we build, or give people the confidence and the belief, right, in what they've previously achieved? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We sort of talk of the two pillars of clarity of what skills you're bringing and the confidence to be able to then go out and market yourself. And John mentioned a really good word there in reflection. It's reflecting on the skills that you already have, as well as reflecting on what good looks like, because there's lots of different flavors, even with the term data analytics. What the coaches do is help individuals really understand what drives them, what motivates them, all their transferable skills, and what they've achieved so far as well. It's not just about what you can do, it's been able to show that you've delivered, and making those achievements relevant to the new world, whichever route the learners decide to take. So yeah, it's amazing actually. I think John was quite self-aware, but an awful lot of people, when I work with them, don't appreciate quite how much they're bringing to the table, you know, as well as all the things they're going to learn on the course. So we do spend a lot of time helping people get to know themselves, their skills, their strengths, their drivers, and then be able to put that into what we grandly call a branding statement, which is an individual's way of promoting themselves in their CV, in their LinkedIn, their elevator pitch, their interviews, etc.
Brilliant. Thank you. So then again here, you know, unlike diverse career paths, we've really spoken about this already a little bit, right? And just in terms of the types of individuals that we get coming in from all different backgrounds here. But Tim started an AI-driven marketing business after graduating. I don't want you guys jumping to YouTube right now. Stay with us. But Tim, we hosted a webinar like a couple of months ago, and it was brilliant. His insight, his experience, and he goes into detail about his employer project that he completed. But that was, yeah, life-changing for him as well. You've got James, who went from project manager to data analyst at EasyJet, another great webinar that you've got there, and Elodie as well, who is now formally a part of the program. So she went as well from teacher to senior analytical lead at the NHS. I have her on LinkedIn. I can't keep up with the amount of promotions she's had since. It's probably 2 or 3. And this is her current role. So, you know, as you're in the decision-making process, book an exploratory phone conversation with your EA. We're there to unpack and learn your circumstances, what it is that you're looking to achieve, and see if it's relevant for this. We're not pushing you into anything, but if it, we really want to understand if you're the right fit, and we can support you in achieving your outcomes. Support network. So that would be Tracy and Harry at the moment. Ruan, you support at the front end, obviously. But let's talk a little bit about the support that you'll receive. So we've got the career coaching, which we'll talk a little bit more about now. But you've also got your academic support alongside a student success manager. Tracy, tell us a bit more about coaching.
Great about the coaching at Forthrev. I know I'm biased, but it's the way it's embedded from the start. It's a really, really important part of the Accelerator. But it's also very personal. So each individual that we work with, even if they have sort of similar goals in terms of they might be changing their career completely or want promotion, they have a different path that is relevant to them. So it's very, very much person-centered, the coaching that we do. We have a number of one-to-one coaching sessions, and we help individuals, as I said before, uncover their drivers, their values, so we can, or they can understand what a really great career looks like. And we are very much about not just what's the first step, it's where they want to go in their career. And helping individuals understand the tools they've got to get there, their experience, their transferable skills, how they can use the knowledge that they're learning on the course, and then sort of walk with them to go through the various steps that are relevant to them to achieve their goals. So if it's a career changer, it will be getting a completely different CV together, changing LinkedIn profile. Whoever you are, we'll talk a lot about networking. That's a great place to find a job. So we support, as on a one-to-one basis, coupled with there's a career playbook that we've got, which has got lots and lots of information to use as almost a reference document to support the one-to-one coaching that you get, as well as workshops that we run. And we also run group sessions. When people are ready to launch themselves on the market, we get small groups of individuals together across all the different career accelerators. The common thing they've got in common is they're all ready and on the market, ready to go to market now. And we work with them. Coaches really facilitate the journey, helping them support each other, learn from each other, what's working in networking, interview techniques. So it's that support group of individuals who are all looking together, searching for a role. I could talk all day, Joshua, but is that enough?
No, I know there'll be plenty more opportunity. Before we move on here to really telling statistics, I know these inside out, Ruan, you would too, in communication, but 21.9% is the average salary increase reported since candidates completed the Career Accelerator, of those that completed the survey, and 87.5% of learners achieved their desired career goal within 6 months of completing their Career Accelerator. What's great about the coaches and the rest of the team is that you'll set realistic expectations about the timeline that you can achieve what you want to achieve. But if you are in a position where, I'm generalizing here, but you've come in with let's say some previous experience in data and you really want to land that role or progress sooner than the 6 months, we've seen many instances with that. That comes in the flexibility that you can access the coaching from the outset, as you said there, Tracy, as well. Some common questions. Harry, some of these have got your name all over it. I think in the end, part of why people look to do a program like this is that it's guided and it's quite difficult to learn the technical skills of data completely self-taught or self-paced. People often attempt it and then look at something like this. And one of the concerns is, what if I struggle with the technical content? So a couple of questions for you. I guess the main one firstly is, what is the level of academic support that's provided throughout the Career Accelerator?
It's personalized. I think a lot of what we covered earlier, what Tracy said, we very much echo the same sentiment in the facilitator support, in that it's one-to-one. We offer that support all the way through the course. And it's very much tailored to your personal background, right? I think one thing that I'd like to emphasize is that, yeah, absolutely, it is really challenging when you approach a big, complex topic first, and there's a lot of different avenues you could pursue. Doing that by yourself can be really difficult. And obviously, that's one of the major benefits of the course, is that you've got experienced professionals like myself and the other facilitators who've gone through that pain and can, help shortcut and give you guidance about, really being able to accelerate your pace of learning and to learn the industry best practices, within the first weeks. And I think having that support on the course really does help you to kind of go from a beginner level to presenting an assignment that is at the level of the industry or beyond. And I've been really amazed, because I'm fairly new on the facilitator team, and this has been my first cohort that I've been working with at the moment. And I've been absolutely, dumbfounded by the transformation that I've seen in the students that have signed up, in that they've had, no Python experience, for example, and then have delivered work that is, beyond my expectations. And that's coming from an industry perspective. So I think absolutely it's structured, and the people who are going to do the best on the course are the ones that are proactive, right? And that are willing to take advantage of the support that we offer, because it's extensive.
Don't suffer in silence is what I always said. was on the phones, because the support's there, but are you utilizing it as best as you can? I'm going to jump to Ruan for a second before I come back to you, Harry, because I think it's important to mention this first. But we do have entry criteria for the program, and there's 3 main pathways. Ruan, do you want to talk very briefly about the three ways you can gain entry into the program?
Yes, Joshua, anytime. So there is 3 pathways to gain access to the program. So the first pathway is the academic pathway. So you require at least a bachelor's degree with some kind of quantitative units. So for instance, mathematics, economics, finance, advanced research, that kind of thing. Another thing that we also then, the second pathway have a look at is at least 3 years of dealing with data. So this doesn't have to be on the same level as a data analyst. If you work on a regular basis with data sets, Excel, pivot tables, dashboards, those kind of things, that is definitely also something that you can add there. For that, you would require a 1 to 2 page CV demonstrating that. And then for those of you that don't have any prior experience working with data, or you haven't completed the degree, or you don't have the quantitative units as part of your degree, there is a technical assessment that you can also do. The technical assessment takes about 30 minutes and you need to score at least 50% for it. So speak to your enrollment advisor to get some more information regarding that as well.
There's in the chat here, team, there's a 2-minute eligibility survey that you can fill out as well, which gives you some good insight if you do qualify or not. From that, you can still book a call, or gives you some very quick insight to your potential fit. So Harry, with that in mind, let's say you are eligible and you qualify, like many people we speak to. What are some of the other kind of foundational skills that are just the minimum requirements that would put someone in a good position for the program?
Honestly, I think the most important thing is motivation, which is just something that's obviously hard to measure. I think, or I have seen in the cohort that I'm currently working with, that there are people who have come from a background of no experience with data, and that are, because of their drive and their clear goals that they have for the program and what they want to achieve afterwards, they're incredibly driven, and that often those students are the most successful. So I think it's really difficult to put your finger on like the little details, but I think motivation is definitely the number 1 predictor of good outcomes. Having said that, I think if you have worked with Excel, for example, in any form, which I think lots of people do if you have experience in the world of work, that is, I think, it's a benefit. It's something that we do expand on the course in our first in our first course 1, and I think just a kind of interest really in the projection of the industry in AI, for example. If you're interested in subjects like that, then I think you're going to engage a lot with the concepts and the content that we do teach on the course.
I was wondering if you'd say mindset, and you did. And again, that reminds me of my conversation webinar with Tim. You can see his quote at the bottom there, but I was a complete beginner when I started. I'd never opened SQL or Python in my life. But again, he just applied himself and saw the results. Another big one, will I be able to fit this into my working and personal schedule? John, how'd you do it? How'd you make it work?
Well, I had kind of 2 periods of time where sort of the first course I was working part-time, and then the sort of middle third I was working full-time, and then back to kind of part-time again. So those times when I was working full-time, it was a challenge for sure. But I sat down with my what's it called, success manager. Yes, am I right? Yeah, success manager at the start, and kind of talked about that expected schedule I was going to have, and sort of made a plan for how to structure it, and she was there to support those transition times when it was a bit difficult. For one period I had to fly out to Japan for my job, had issues with the my visa, had to fly to Korea, had some, problems that were unforeseen, and they were really flexible and helped me out and gave me a little extension for a few days to get one of the projects in, which, it was a stressful time, but that support's there to kind of get you through those moments, and it's never going to be plain sailing, so I think that kind of, yeah, it was just part of my experience with it, really. But yeah, generally I think it was easy to manage, and there were parts where I had to put more time into it, and then parts where I could relax a little bit more. But yeah, and coming from very little experience, like I kind of relate to what Harry was saying there with was it Tim maybe you were talking about, who yeah, it came in with very little experience, and that was kind of my my background too. So I feel like I had to put towards the upper end of the kind of suggested time into it, but I sort of knew that going in based on just kind of understanding of where I was with everything. So yeah, I mean it's something for you to work out yourself when you get onto the course and how you manage it. But yeah, definitely the support was there to kind of get me through it for sure.
Yeah, we at the front end, we'd like to communicate an average of 20 hours of study per week. Everyone's different and it varies. What we really believe is that week to week, you've got the flexibility, like in terms of access to content, to be able to incorporate it around other commitments. You can lean on your success manager to look at things like time management, personalized study plans, but in the end, whilst there's the flexibility as to how and when you do it, if you are considering it, you do want to be looking at that 20 hours on average of study per week. It will give you a good opportunity to complete. So it's not, I always kind of like try to say to so many people that I used to speak to, is that it's not, can I do it or am I good enough? It's rather like, are you able and willing to dedicate the required time to achieve your goals? And if you do that, then you're a really good chance. Before we move on, thank you guys. We've got 15 minutes, so we're just on time then to start the Q&A. There's still questions coming in, which is great. But Ruan, quickly, and I'm sure this will be in the chat too, but flexible payment options. Can you just talk us through them?
Anytime, Joshua. I had a feeling you were going to ask me that one. Yes, so the total cost of the program is £8,395. We do, however, have quite a few flexible payment options available as well. So I think the best payment option is the upfront payment option, because with that one, you also get a £700 fee reduction, which then brings down the cost to £7,695. We also have two 6-month payment options. The only difference between the two is the one requires a 10% deposit before the course start date, and the other one requires a 30% deposit before the course start date, with the 30% deposit 6-month payment plan also receiving a £400 fee reduction. And then additionally, there's also a 9-month payment option where you make a 20% deposit followed by 9 monthly payments. And then for special cases, we do have a 24-month payment option through the help of our partner StepX. That one requires a 10% deposit, and it works out around about £315 a month. So these payment options are flexible. They are fee and interest free as well. By flexible, I mean that they can actually be paid off quicker as well. So if you do get that full-time employment after the program, then you can definitely pay it off quicker as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. So before we jump into the Q&A, we'd love to do a little bit of a poll here and understand what your biggest concern is about joining. What's your biggest barrier? So the poll will come up in a moment. And there they are. So you should see that. So there's time commitment, financial cost, lack of technical experience, or uncertain career transition success. Take the time, fill it out. It'd be great. We'll discuss results in a moment. As that is happening, next steps. So we've spoken a bit about this, but the next intake is the 21st of April, which is our second cohort for the year. We've had exponential growth really in terms of the sizes of the intakes and the demand for it. So the 21st of April will be the final day that you can enroll, or if all placements are filled sooner, that's a genuine possibility as well. So once you make the decision that this could be right, my recommendation is apply. The longer you wait, potentially more competitive it becomes. So book a call with an EA to start with your exploratory phone conversation, ensure your goals align and what the program outcomes, and then we can support you on your ideal timeline. We've got flexible payment options, as Ruan mentioned, and how could I forget, the early enrollment benefit. So if you do apply by the 31st of March, you'll unlock exclusive early enrollment benefit of extended career coaching. Tracy, are you able to talk a little bit about the extended career coaching? Tracy might.
Sorry, Joshua, my internet for some reason is playing up at the moment. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Yeah, just talk a little bit about the extended career coaching that the offer that we have.
So we extend the coaching period so that you have up to 6 months after the course finishes, after the program finishes, to complete your program. We also have options where it's not an individual number of sessions, it's actually based on achieving your outcomes. The benefit of the extended coaching is if you're thinking of not wanting to search for something until after the accelerator finishes, and then that gives you quite a lot of time at the end to be able to take all the steps that are necessary. So it depends on where you're at with your situation as to which you think is most relevant to you.
Yeah, it's like putting a we've got real genuine belief in our ability to support you in achieving your outcomes. So what it does is by extending it and or it being kind of outcome based, is that we'll work with you as long as it takes, within reason, to help you achieve that realistic goal. So yeah.
And just to add, Joshua, I think even a lot of people who say at the beginning of the course, actually, I want to find something within the next 6 months. Actually, when they're into the course, they decide there's so much going on with the course, and there's a lot you need to do.
Internet's cut out.
To wait before they start looking. So it gives you that extra flexibility.
Perfect. There you go. You returned. You froze for a second, but we got there in the end. Cool. Keep filling out the poll if you haven't. Let's get to the Q&A. So we've got a couple of questions here. I'm just going to quickly roll through, have a look at the ones that here. There's a good one, but there's one here. Do you offer any financial support or guidance? We've spoken about that in details. Other than the flexible payment options that we have, there's no other further financial support or guidance that we can provide. There may be other options on the market for sure, but no one that we're affiliated with. Good question here from Joel. So how much of traditional big data skills are going to become obsolete because of AI? How much is the program moving towards harnessing AI rather than teaching skills that AI can already do? I'll quickly jump in and just highlight that we do have the AI learning track, which is AI masterclasses, they're live sessions that we've only recently started to incorporate into the program because of AI and the importance of it. And that'll be aligned around kind of current industry trends, things that are occurring right now with AI, and kind of informing you about the importance of those and how it's relevant for you. But kind of if we just speak more broadly now, maybe John, Harry, you've probably got some insights. Can given that you've worked or you are in data. So again, how much of traditional big data skills are going to become obsolete because of AI? That's the question. Yeah, go, Harry.
Thanks, Joshua. I think it's a really good question, obviously. The impact of AI has been massive on the technology industry. And I think what we're seeing now in the industry is that the power of learning data analysis is that AI is going to be implemented in industry, but where the focus is now going to be is for those people that understand how code operates so that they can be able to troubleshoot where AI prompts are not accurate is going to be massive. So essentially where the course helps with that is that we give you not just the code and how you write a question into AI and you get the right answer or whatever. We teach you the principles of what actually goes on underneath the scenes behind the hood. And those things, that understanding from a human cognitive level, is always going to be valuable, because no matter the implementation of code assistance or whatever, businesses are always going to need people who understand the technical kind of reasons for why things are the way they are, and to be able to understand where outputs are not optimized and to be able to act accordingly. So I think in terms of where the course gives value to that, it's that really grassroots level of building up your knowledge from core principles, right? And that knowledge is transferable across businesses. And so I definitely think the impact of AI is great, but it's not going to replace data analysts anytime soon. And the reason for that is because you always need people who understand technology.
Can I just add on
Thanks.
to that as well? Like from my perspective, I think I'd 100% agree with that. And also what this course taught me and what it made me realize was a strength of mine is that I can adapt and change and put myself into something new and quickly pick it up. I'd not looked at Python before the course. I can now, write code and manage projects using it. So AI is just going to be another tool to harness. Tools come and go or whatever in this industry. And even within, excuse me, like 6 months of working, I've learned twice as much as I did on the course. But yeah, as Harry said, the foundation's there. The process of how you apply yourself to new things is just the biggest thing I gained from it. So yes, a lot of the things I'm doing now might not be the things I'm doing in the future, but my ability to shift with it is going to be what keeps me being successful in this field, I think.
Yep, very insightful. Thank you, John. Just looking here, and we've got a few more minutes remaining. So if you've got any additional questions, please feel free to post it now. Here's a question. So how is weekly life after engaging the program? I know there are recorded lectures and a career coach, but is there group work or homework as well? How does this occur usually? Harry, in terms of the academic support provided, what does that look like on a weekly basis?
I'm probably not the best person to ask for this, Josh, because I haven't yet finished my first course, my first cohort yet. So I'm sure there is support, but I haven't actually had experience of doing that. So maybe someone else could fill in.
Yeah. Ruan?
Yes, so throughout the program, there is going to be touch points with the course facilitators as well. So the course facilitators are also industry experts like Harry mentioned, and they will be able to give you some guidance on the projects that you are going to complete, some hands-on guidance there as well. If you do have technical related questions, they can also assist with that. And I also think that the big thing here is that the course facilitators, because of their industry knowledge, they can give you guys some extra insights into current market trends and business challenges. So I think that's definitely something that's very cool. So there's a lot of support throughout the program. I can speak the whole day about the different levels of support that we have throughout the program. But I think from a technical standpoint, the course facilitators is definitely there for you guys to access as well.
Thank you. Got an interesting one here from Laura, who says, hello, I wonder if you could also give us more context on why some markets, for example, the UK, Canada, Germany, Australia, the US, are leading on the data analytics field compared to some other countries. And as that might funnel sooner or later, the number of job openings and salary expectations, I'm guessing, to these other countries. I'll just throw this out there to anyone if they've got any thoughts. If you don't, that's okay. I thought I'd raise it. Cool, we'll leave that one. Sorry, Laura, you'll have to join one where we've got a recruiter, which we did last time. We'd have that sort of insight. Question here, with full-time job, is it easy to dedicate time to complete the course? Easy is not the word I'd be using here. It's difficult. It's meant to be difficult, but the reward is there and it's very achievable. The majority of our students are working full-time or part-time as they do this, but not easy under any circumstance. Okay, there's a couple of questions regarding the postgraduate certificate pathway, of which John is one of our first 20, elusive 20, that will be starting in March. So we always had the intent when we created this program back in 2021 is that we would form a formal pathway to a postgraduate qualification with the LSE. So the learning outcomes of the program are designed to be of that level so that we could look to get that approval in the future. It's taken 3-4 years, and now that we have it. So essentially, once you complete the Career Accelerator, and if you get an average mark of 65% or above, then you would be deemed eligible for this pathway. So it's one further academic capstone with the LSE. It's 3 months in length. So you're not necessarily learning new content. You're completing a 3,000 to 4,000 word project. That can be based on a list of projects provided from the LSE, approved projects or topics, or potentially can be based on your employer project, which is the final project you complete in the Career Accelerator as well. The cost, firstly, the time, it's about 8 to 10 hours as a recommendation of study per week, but with there not being live sessions, other than your support from your LSE facilitator, there's a lot more flexibility as to when and how you do that study over the 3 months. In terms of the cost, it's £1,800, including that. So an additional £1,800 as well. But you would graduate with a formal postgraduate certificate from the LSE as an outcome. It's the very first pathway of its kind. And yeah, the demand's been incredible. We filled the first cohort, limited placements, as mentioned, 20. We had the 20 applications within 20 minutes of opening. And again, that's kudos to John on his speed. But then officially filled all of those placements within a week as well. So great demand, and understandably so. You mentioned, this could be the last one. You mentioned there are limited spaces. What is the max size of the cohort, or is there a range? What is it? We would max out at the moment at around 150 maximum for the upcoming cohort. We tend, in the build up to enrollments closing, we'll generally notify you via email how we're tracking to that So if placements are really filling quickly or not. But again, recommendation would be the moment you decide this is right, apply. And you've got the early incentive as well before the end of March. That's it, everyone. We got through all the questions. I'm pretty happy with that, with only being over 2 minutes. So I guess before we jump off, John, just being, again, someone that's completed the program and gone through it, any final words of encouragement or advice?
Oh, that's a broad question. Final words of advice. I'd say start doing something now, whatever it is, like any kind of free course that you can find online. Like I did a Google thing on Coursera just to get myself prepared for doing something like this. Like it's a really big commitment and a lot of money and a lot of time and stress and all the things that come with it. So yeah, start doing something now. Give yourself maximum chance of success by building as much knowledge as you can before you start doing a course like this. And yeah, believe in yourself.
That's it. Yeah, someone's just put in the chat here that they're currently doing the Google course. Yeah, if you're completely new to data
Yeah,
and you
that's
just
what I did, yeah.
stand, yeah, it's a good start. This is the program you do to actually have that meaningful impact and change. But it's all about taking action, you know. That's the most important thing. So I'll leave you all with that. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next time. To my panel, appreciate all of your support and questions, answers to the questions, I should say.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah.
all.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.